Okay, today what I'm going to share with you, it's another nutritional piece, and this is a few keys I'm going to give you for effective weight loss. Now they may sound very simple, but if you can actually apply them and be consistent, you'll get results. I know for myself, I was able to get really good results with just applying a few principles, a few lifestyle changes to my life. The first thing I want to say though is that it involves no supplementation. Now I'm not opposed to supplements. I like sports supplements for certain things. There are only a few that actually have good research for recovery and things of that nature. But when it comes to weight loss, I have found zero supplements effective for weight loss. Even the ones that show some benefit in research, the amount of results you get are so minimal, it's really not worth the investment. Now, when I did my master's in human nutrition, my strongest field was sports nutrition. So you'd be sorely disappointed if you saw some of the research, for some of the things that they claim work. Now, what did I do for effective weight loss? The number one thing I did was I cut out sugar. Now, a lot of people say, well, I don't eat a lot of sugar. Well, I didn't eat a lot of sugar before either. But what I found was if I was eating this protein cookie, it had a bunch of sugar in there. Even though it didn't have a ton, it wasn't like a candy bar, but there was a decent amount of sugar in there. If you're eating certain types of protein bars or supplements, you have to check the sugar in there as well. Some are worse than others. I'm not opposed to all of them, but again, in certain amounts. You have to start looking on the labels and seeing everything that they put sugar in. I mean, for goodness sake, they put sugar in peanut butter, so it's not just natural carbohydrates that you find in the peanuts. You see that they add sugar to it. So again, you're going to find, and even I see a lot of organic peanut butter say, oh, it must be healthy because it's got the word organic. It's got sugar in there, and I'm not picking on peanut butter. I love peanut butter. Now, so there's a number of different things we can do to remove different aspects of sugars from our diet. The number two thing that I did was I significantly decreased my carbohydrates. Now I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm not a ketogenic guy. I'm not a big fan of it, except for a few cohorts that I think it can be effective for. But as far as long-term ketosis, it's not really healthy for you. So I do believe, however, not in a super low carb diet, but in a lower carb diet. So bringing that percentage down to maybe 30% of your total intake of calories. I like shooting for that. I think it's a good number to shoot for. And again, we're talking about good carbohydrates, right? Carbohydrates that have, fibers, carbohydrates that are from healthier sources like sweet potatoes and brown rice and quinoa and these type of food sources, Ezekiel bread, things of that nature. These are really good carbohydrates. I know the anti-gluten people would be against some of those. I'm not anti-gluten. Now, if you do have gluten sensitivity or gluten-sensitive enteropathy, then you do want to avoid any of the products with wheat, rye, and barley, which contains that protein called gluten. That's a whole other topic. Now, another thing, the third thing that I did was, and this is going to sound so simple, I cut portion sizes. If I was eating, 2 packets of oatmeal before, I cut it down to 1 packet of oatmeal. If I was eating, 2 sandwiches before, I cut it down to 1 sandwich for a meal, or whatever it may be. I'm just giving you little examples. If I ate a little bit of pasta, let's say a plate of pasta, I cut that down significantly. To be completely honest, I don't eat very much pasta anymore, even though I love it. It's part of my heritage. But that being said, it's very dense with calories. So what I tried to do is I tried to minimize portion sizes, just cut out certain amounts. Listen, I told a buddy the other day, I said, if you're going to use ranch dressing, it's not great for you. You can cut it out altogether. It wouldn't be a bad idea. But if you're going to do it, use half the amount you normally use. So, again, if we can just, minimize the volume of calories and the volume of food we're intaking, and probably the best advice I could give you is become a label reader. Start looking and seeing the sugar and the fat content and what's in the foods that you're actually eating. I mean, the government's required to put labels on things, or at least the manufacturers are required by the government to put labels. Maybe start reading those labels and see, some of the content in there. Now, as far as the sugar, we have lots of good replacements like erythritol, stevia, or Truvia, which is both of those two combined. Those are practically non-caloric. They're natural sources. I don't agree with artificial sweeteners. Again, that's for another video. I don't use artificial sweeteners, and I kind of speak out against artificial sweeteners for various reasons. That being said, we have a lot of natural alternatives. Things like stevia. Stevia is natural. It's a natural herb. And again, you can pick and choose which ones work best for you. Those are a few tips. So let's review real quick. We're going to cut out sugar. We're going to decrease the amount of carbohydrates. We're going to decrease portion sizes. I do have one more thing we're going to add. Any component of weight loss is going to involve some type of exercise. And what I'm going to tell you, what I found to be most effective for myself and for others that I've worked with, is high intensity interval training. And there are so many, again, I could do a whole video on that or a number of videos on it, but there are so many different ways to do it. If you watch any of my Spartan Killer workouts, those are high intensity interval type workouts. I use kettlebells personally to get my cardiovascular work. I mean, listen, if you love cardio, you can run. If you're a runner, you can do the step mill, the Stairmaster over at the gym, if that works for you. But again, getting some type of high intensity interval workout where you push your cardio with some active rest, push that cardio with some active rest, do it for 10 minutes, do it for 20 minutes, whatever works for you. Do rounds of things like I do with the Spartan Killers oftentimes, those Spartan Killer workouts that I have posted to YouTube. Anyway, I'm just trying to give you some ideas. Those are 4 for you. If you have any questions, let me know. Stay strong. See you next time.